Atlanta on city and regional planning. She also has one in natural resources management. And today she's going to be joining us to discuss how your city and county can be more sustainable, discussing things like clean energy, waste and recycling, transportation, water efficiency, and many other topics. She also has a pretty rich, diverse presentation to try to engage our diverse audience, including some students that are here, of how you can get involved with internships and so on, and advocacy and that relates to her work. So we'd like to invite Kelsey to, and I should talk about the schedule for today. So we doing welcome introductions. Now we'll have 30-minute presentation approximately, and then we'll jump into a question and answer. So please keep track of your questions so that we can have we really do want to have a much more rich discussion today than we have in the past. Not just, we'll start off with the Q&A for Kelsey after her presentation, but then we can open up to a richer discussion about clean energy and what our cities and counties are doing, what could we do more in the city, how we could potentially collaborate together on some of the items that come up today. So we definitely want to have a rich discussion near the end. And then we'll conclude with some upcoming events that are happening. You are also welcome to let us know about events that are happening in that time at 2:15 and wrap up at 2:30. For Zoom keeping, if you're not familiar with it, in the bottom left corner, you'll see the chat. Here you can keep track. Again, if some questions that might come up, we want to keep them for the Q&A, but if you do want to kind of document them in the chat, you're welcome to do so. Also, another thing that might be useful is the reactions, especially for the Q&A and discussions, so that we can have a very seamless discussion later. You can raise your hand, let us know that you have something to say. If someone wants to do a poll, we're also able to do that with yes and no answers that will show up on your screen. You can, when you click on like raising your hand, you can also put your hand down by clicking on it again. And then this meeting is being recorded now, if you didn't get that notification at the beginning. All right, so I'd like to invite Kelsey to share her screen now.
All right, how are we looking? Is that working?
Great, thank you.
Wonderful. Okay, so yes, like Robert said, thank you for the introduction. My name is Kelsey Wadehouse. I work for both the Atlanta Regional Commission and the Metropolitan North Georgia Water Planning District, which we lovingly just call the district for short. And I'm going to try in 30 minutes to touch on a little bit of what I do for both of these organizations, a little bit of the broader work for both of these organizations, and then move into some more recent things that I've been trying to work on across our commission and district. And then we can open it up for discussion. I will say I have lots of animals. I'm sorry, they might interfere at some point, and that I hope everyone here is from Metro Atlanta. We are Metro Atlanta specific. We help serve our cities, counties, water utilities, any sort of elected body that needs help with anything, we can help them with. So that's where our work focuses on. And the good thing about that is that all of you here have elected officials, and hopefully for me and my benefit, you are in either the regional commission area or the district area, and you can help me educate our elected officials and representatives on all of the resources available to them for sustainability work and for water work as well. So I always try to start really high level to contextualize ARC and the Metro Water District and what we do, where we work. Georgia is the state with the most counties in the US. We have 159 counties in the US. So that makes it pretty hard to coordinate large-scale projects like infrastructure development. And as such, every county in the state is grouped into a regional commission. Here at the Atlanta Regional Commission, we have an 11 county region that we work with. We work specifically with those 11 counties and all of the cities within those counties, which at any given point, we're constantly adding cities in the state legislature right now. So we have about 70, if not more, and we're growing that number in those 11 counties. So we have a lot of legislative bodies and local governments that we coordinate with on different projects. For the Metro Water District, it is sort of the same thing, 159 counties. All of our counties are grouped into water planning districts. However, all of the other water planning districts that aren't mine are grouped around our major watersheds within the state. For our water district here in Metro Atlanta, we're actually grouped around population and employment growth. So developmental growth is what we really focus on because we are the densest region, the highest population region in the state. And as such, we have 15 counties that we work with, all of those counties and all of those cities and all of those water utilities on coordinating major infrastructure, not only projects, but also just quality, making sure everybody has the resources they need to deliver safe, healthy water, get that water away from houses when it needs to go, have our stormwater utilities developing and also talking to each other, cities and counties talking to each other about stormwater, flooding, et cetera, et cetera. And one of my colleagues at ARC describes it as a multiple raccoons wrapped in a trench coat. And it's really true because we are also the 20 county metropolitan planning organization, which most major cities are in an MPO. We also happen to be Atlanta's MPO. So we work much farther beyond the city of Atlanta limits. We work with all of these counties, different scales, different projects, whatever you're talking about. We're really focusing on community development, coordinating across all of these jurisdictional boundaries so that we have some sort of comprehensive goal that we're all working towards together. My specific day-to-day for my ARC side of work is running our Green Communities program. It is a voluntary sustainability certification program that our cities and counties can participate in. It is points-based. We have 10 different categories that they can get points under, and they score points and level up through the program over the years. All of these photos were taken in our wonderful 11 counties. On the left, you have City of Decatur. They have several firehouses with solar power on them. Moving on, you have Norcross and their wonderful work with community gardens. You've got Roswell, not only EV chargers, but also pervious pavement projects to help mitigate stormwater runoff. Douglas County and their multi-use roads, as well as multimodal roads, as well as their LEED certified buildings. So we touch on all sort of things, both internal facing to our local government's operations, as well as external facing to communities for larger sustainability projects. I'll just move on. So these are the 10 categories that our communities can score points under. We currently have 17 participating communities. If we post the PDF of this, you can click and find the link and see if your community is one of those participating communities. If not, feel free to send this to your elected officials, to your representatives. Let them know that this is available to them. Let them know that this is an important thing for you, sustainability, climate action, and that this is one way that they can start on that sustainability journey. It's a choose your own adventure. So within these 10 categories, we have 80 different measures that they can choose from, starting with low hanging fruit, going up to higher difficulty measures to implement. So it's really what do you all want to do as a community and how do we get you there? So again, here's the link. I'm just going to blow through that since we have so much to do. On top of that, if your city and county needs assistance in getting Green Community certification, or if they just have any other projects that they need sustainability help on, we also at ARC have our Sustainable Connections internship program. My colleague Crystal Jackson runs this, and how she does it is she opens 2 applications at once. One is for incoming nonprofits in cities and counties and the projects that they need sustainability help on. And the other is for our students in Metro Atlanta, any sort of of our community colleges or even our larger institutions, Georgia Tech, Georgia State. We take in both of these things at once, and we try to match our skill sets that we have from those students to those projects that are being submitted by our cities and counties. So those are open now, both the projects and the student application. So please go ahead, submit. If you're a nonprofit, if you're a city, if you're a county, we want to hook you up with the best talent in Metro Atlanta for your sustainability project. So let us help you. And so that's just what we do in natural resources. In the larger Center for Livable Communities within ARC, we also have the Livable Centers Initiative, which helps cities and counties look at their dense areas, their transportation in those areas, working on multimodal, offering safe bike lanes, better walking options and pedestrian options. Then moving on, we have the Atlanta Local Food Initiative. If you've heard of Alfie, if you've heard of the fruit tree sale with the Atlanta Food Bank, we have a hand in that and coordinating that for food stability. We have our Community Development Assistance Program, which is here to help pilot different things like East Point's local food systems plan that they recently completed. So we address sustainability in those projects that get submitted and accepted as well. And then one of our most long-running programs from our Transportation and Mobility Department is going to be our Georgia Commute Options, and that's helping everyone, even pre-pandemic, figure out how they can telework if remote work works for them or their organization. We work with not only local governments trying to encourage remote work for our local government workers and planners, but also our larger commercial entities looking at alternative commute options like busing, like our wonderful MARTA system, trying to get people to move out of their single-use occupancy vehicle trips and into more climate-friendly modes that reduce our emissions from commuting. I think that's all I have for ARC, which is really misleading because these programs, the ones I just spoke about as well, are only in our Center for Livable Communities. We also have our Center for Aging Independent Services that does a lot for outreach to our aging populations, making sure that they are stable, building resiliency in communications and education with those populations. We've got a few other centers as well. So what I've spoken here about is just what I know in CLC. We have so many other operations that go on that can have resiliency and climate touch points as well. So our Metro North Georgia Water Planning District, the district, again, is 15 counties that overlaps really nicely with our 11 counties from ARC. So I have a hand in both. I'm a technical assistance program manager for this. So just like with my Green Communities program on the ARC side of things, I work one-on-one with local governments to stay in compliance with our water resource management plan, which you'll see there on the left. That's mainly what the Metro District does, is we develop our water resource management plan. It's involving all 15 counties. We look at population projections, we look at employment projections, we make sure that all of our utilities, all of our cities, all of our counties are preparing for the future, are making sure our water infrastructure, both water supply, wastewater, and protecting our watersheds are all in consideration as we move forward. We're currently in the process of updating this plan as well. My specific role is that I, again, work one-on-one with cities and counties. So how I explain it to people is that the Metro Water District, I'm the coach. I come in with our cities and counties. They're the players in the game. And I coach them through the audit process and how to stay in compliance with this big plan that we create. And then EPD at the state level, the Environmental Protection Division comes in and audits them against the plan every 4 to 5 years. So we're really here as a big resource, not only to ensure high quality adoption of ordinances and development patterns are in place, but also making sure that we're there to help them stay in compliance with these high quality things that we ask them to do, to just ensure that we have a healthy growth in our region, that we have reliable services, and resilient services as well. Alrighty, so some of the things we do, like I said, we address water supply, wastewater, and watershed. So some of the water supply things we do, we run the toilet rebate program. This is when developers or homeowners are switching out old toilets from older homes that were really inefficient, flushing at 2+ gallons per flush. You can come in and get a rebate for switching out your really inefficient toilet with newer, more efficient toilets. Toilets are actually pretty expensive. This has been a really popular program over the years. This is a high efficiency toilet you'll see on the right. It's not an ultra high efficiency toilet, but we're working on that. We're moving towards even more efficient fixtures every single day in the Metro Water District. We've also done some work on irrigation fixtures and policies, making sure that irrigation systems that are being installed across Metro Atlanta have a timer, are being sensitive to rain sensors, and not watering when we're not supposed to be watering. Moving on, UHE, ultra high efficiency fixtures. That's our sort of next frontier on moving from what was previously high efficiency to even more efficient fixtures as they get developed and pushed out onto the market. In addition to all of these sort of more concrete and infrastructure things, we do a ton of education around water supply and water efficiency, specifically in Georgia. We have a middle school essay contest that opens every year. I believe this year we focused on water jobs and all of the different jobs you can have with your water utility. We also have a high school video contest. I really encourage you to click on that link and go watch those videos. These kids are hilarious and amazing and educate in ways around water issues that we could just never think of. We also have a calendar photo contest. If you are a photographer and you have water-related photos anywhere in our 15 counties, we want to see them, and we would love to be able to put them on our calendar that we produce every year. And lastly, a huge effort on the part of Sarah Skinner, our lead for education here at the Metro Water District. We partnered with Georgia Public Broadcasting to do a live exploration of Georgia's water. If you have young students, they might have come home talking about this. It was watched across the entire state of Georgia. It tells our unique Georgia story about water, where we only have surface water, we don't have any groundwater, and that's why efficiency is so important and why we prioritize efficiency, because what you see on the surface in Lake Lanier and Lake Allatoona, that's what our water resource is. There's no drilling down into the granite under our feet for water. And so our live exploration with GPB was really great in educating the whole state about our water story here in Metro Atlanta, but also the broader state and how unique our story is here in Georgia. Oh goodness, let me move on up here. Okay, so next we do a lot of watershed protection as well. That first link right there, I'm going to call out specifically our basin advisory councils. These are citizen-led advisory councils. So if you're within that 15 county region, we have a basin advisory council for the specific watershed that you live in that you can participate on. You can help guide us on the issues that you think are most important for your specific watershed. You get to meet other people who have lived in your watershed for decades, and they have water stories about not only playing in these watersheds when they were younger, but how they've seen development patterns grow around these watersheds and how they've seen that affect our watersheds here in Metro Atlanta. So I encourage you to click on that link, join our basin advisory councils. They're there for you if you are a citizen within a resident within our 15 county region. On top of that, we have above and beyond state stream buffer protection. So at the state level, there is developmental stream buffer protections. If you're in our 15 counties, we have additional protections on top of that to really prioritize watershed health, the ecosystems around our watersheds, because again, if you see it, it's probably going to be a water supply somewhere downstream. So we need to protect them everywhere they are for our drinking water purposes. We also make sure that we're working with our wastewater infrastructure providers to just keep things up to date, keep things high quality, stay in compliance with the state plan, but also access any sort of technical help that they need to keep their systems running and up to date. On top of that, we discuss green infrastructure. We encourage stormwater mitigation, things like bioswales and pervious pavement to mitigate runoff. All of these things are things that we talk about: litter control, illegal connections, and illicit discharge. We work one-on-one with our cities, counties, and water providers to make sure that we're addressing all of these things up front to keep our environmental health just up to par. Okay, I have 10 minutes left. This was a lot faster than I thought I would have. So more recent work that I've been doing is education for local government planners and elected officials. Last year, I put on 6 webinars. The link is in that 2021 to all of those webinars, just to push a variety of sustainability projects. Like you saw in the Green Communities program, we have 10 very broad categories that we encourage communities towards. So a little bit of everything last year. Efficiency rebate programs with Georgia Power. Your cities and counties own buildings. They are commercial scale buildings, and Georgia Power is there if they are a Georgia Power customer to help them install and retrofit high efficiency fixtures and get those power bills down to help save municipal money. We talked about electric vehicles last year. We talked about automatic permitting for solar projects with Solar App and the National Renewable Energy Laboratory. We talked about Soul Smart certification. I think Skylar's on the line with us. He worked with me on that project last year to help push us and encourage all of our local governments to get Soul Smart certification, which is just helping decrease barriers to rooftop solar. This year, I already have 4 webinars planned. These were just announced. Oh my goodness, I'm moving on the wrong slide. I'm so sorry. There we go. My apologies. This year, we already have 4 new webinars planned for local governments. I just want to remind everyone these are local government focused. But the good news is that you are a citizen to local governments, and your elected officials, your planners, your economic development officials, they might need some help in finding the free and low cost resources available to them for sustainability and climate action. So that is what I am here for, particularly if you're in my 11 or 15 counties, whatever it may be. Maybe your elected officials need to know about some solar power in your community. Maybe they need to know about the Green Power Partnership Program with EPA. I would encourage you to look at these links and maybe send them to your elected officials or to your planners and your economic development staff. Lots of great education coming up. Don't want it to be missed. Which segues into my last point. I'm flattered that I was asked to be on the Leaders series of speakers. We do a lot and we are a leader, but you can be a leader also. I really encourage you to, right now, as we continue into the next discussion, go to your city or county's website. You have a city council member that you have elected, or you have a county commissioner that you have elected. Go to those websites. Find those public meetings and attend those public meetings. Every single thing, every single issue that any sort of board of appeals, any sort of planning commission, any sort of city council or county commission hears, all of those issues have sustainability and climate touch points. It might not be very obvious to you at first, but after you attend a few of those meetings, you'll start to ask those questions in your head of, what is that rezoning to a large sprawling business with a huge parking lot do instead of the existing zoning for a single family home, which won't have so much pervious pavement? So it does take a little bit to get the hang of putting yourself into that local government mindset of what is sustainability in this scenario. But they won't know if they don't hear the voices. So while I am considered a leader in this series context, you are a leader too, and I encourage you to join me. Attend those meetings, put them on your calendar, start asking those sustainability questions, because those elected officials, those leaders, those planners, they won't know that that's an issue for you unless you start letting them know that these are issues and concerns for you. Our region is only growing. we're only going to have more development coming down the line. And you as a citizen should be engaged and make sure that that development is as sustainable and healthy for our ecosystems and our environment as possible. And that's the way that you can get involved and make sure that that happens for you. And again, I provide all of these education sessions for our elected officials, for our planners, for our city managers, our county managers, their staff. Maybe you could let them know about it if they're interested in any of these issues. I'm open to the entire state of Georgia, particularly. I do concentrate on my 11 counties, but I'm not going to shy away any questions or any extra help I can give to any other sort of elected officials or jurisdictions.